You see, as someone who doesn't really go online and look at other people's opinions, I don't know a lot of bookish hot takes. And if I'm going to be frank, I don't really care what other people think. You can think Catching Fire is the worst book in the Hunger Games series. I wouldn't blink an eye. But I thought it would be fun if I went through some popular bookish hot takes and I reacted to them and see how valid they are. So my girlfriend, Zoe Reitz, you should check her out. She's pretty chill if I say so myself. She has gone ahead and collected a couple hot takes for me to read and react firsthand for you. I'm going to preference this with saying that some of these are not hot takes. Some of these are literally just people saying popular things, which, let's be honest, every hot take is usually just someone's opinion that's actually pretty popular. But anyways, let's get started. Not every book needs a happy ending. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Who in the right mind thinks that every book needs a happy ending? Unless you're like an 80-year-old person who's reading cozy mysteries exclusively, I don't think every book needs to have a happy ending to you. But let's flatter this question a little bit. If you cannot tell, happy endings are not something that's always necessary for every book. If anything, I'd actually argue that a lot of books that are considered the best or people's favorites aren't always the happiest endings. And it's because they're real, they're impactful, they don't make the reader go, oh, it just worked out for them. So I think this statement is completely valid. No, not every book needs a wonderful, fantastic ending where everyone makes it out alive and it's just wonderful for everyone. Being able to predict the ending of a mystery book doesn't mean it's bad. Sure, I'm not going to say that it's like automatically the worst book if I can predict the ending of a book, but like if it's a mystery book and I know what's going to happen and then said thing happens, yes, that diminishes the book a little bit. I think the point of a mystery book isn't meant to be like a, oh, wait, halfway through the book, I know exactly who's going to die and what's going to happen and they're going to solve it or whatever. Like, no, the greatest mystery books are the ones I did not expect something to happen. And I'm not directly saying like it has to be a twist or anything, just like it's not predictable. Isn't the word predictable almost the opposite of mystery? So it's kind of funny to say that if a book is predictable, that is also a mystery. It is not a bad book. So I'm not going to say that if I predicted a book's ending, that it's immediately going to be just horrible. I'm sure I've read some books and I've thought about the ending and it happened exactly how I thought and I gave it like a 7. But if I know what's going to happen in a book, there's not a chance in hell I'm going to give it a 10 or a 9. So this person, yeah, they're wrong. Celebrity memoirs are cluttering up the bestseller shelves. I didn't know we were saying facts today. If you watch my other videos, you know that I actually work at a bookstore. So I see a lot of these memoirs of like some comedian or actor or athlete, and there's a lot of them. And yes, they take up a large portion of these bestseller areas where it's just a ton of them lined up. And I'm going to tell you right now, most of them are not that great. And in fact, a lot of them are probably not actually written by said celebrity. I feel like every famous person reaches this point in their career where they're probably not doing much anymore. And they're like, I need to write a book. And then they write some half-assed piece of work that's not worth reading at all. Now, there's some exclusions to this. I'm actually reading Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. Love it so far. I'm pretty close to finishing it. I think that is a great memoir. I think there's a reason for existing. I think it's well written. I thought it was entertaining, funny at times, but also tackled serious themes. But I'm going to be honest. I don't really care about Nate Bargatze's memoir. What does that guy have to say? I'm sorry, Nate. Anyways, there's like hundreds of these and they constantly are taking up space, specifically usually in like nonfiction areas. And that really takes away from a lot of these good like psychology or like self-transformation books or business books that are actually well written. So this person is dead on the money. Like they're completely correct in this statement. Being offended about how others treat their books is dumb. So personally, I don't really care about how other people's are like treating their books, whether they like dog ear it or they're like cracking the spine. It doesn't really ever pop in my head how they treating it. I mean, it's not like it's their pet or their family member, but I've definitely heard people complain about like how people will just throw around their book or they don't care how they ruin the pages or whatever. And to be honest, it's like, why do you care? It's not your book. And then you're going to see some people out there being like, well, books are this beautiful thing and they need to be treated with kindness. And it's like, shut up. Like, no, it's a book. All right. It's an object. There's a ton of these in print. If this person wants to treat their book like this, let them. They'll put it on their shelf. It might not look the best in your opinion, but that does not matter. I think most of the people who feel this way about other people treating their books a certain way, they gotta have something else going on in their life. I don't think a ton of exciting stuff is happening to them, so they feel the need to express how horrible it is for you to open your book just a little too wide. And I'm sorry for calling you out like this, but grow up. That being said, I do treat my books pretty well though, because I like them like that. Anyways, on to the next. Required reading in schools should be more than just the classics. This is a hot take I actually think people will enjoy. I love classic books. In fact, some of my favorite books are the classics. And I think there's good reason why they are classic books. I think they have a lot of literary depth to them. They're extremely different from books written nowadays. They have different themes, and a lot of times they're a little better written and have the message cross a little better. So I think there is good reason why these books are getting read in school. But I agree with this person. I don't think all books need to be The Great Gatsby or Lord of the Flies. I think there's other books out there that could be great for students to read. In fact, adding a little variety would probably get more people into reading sooner in their lives. As someone who started reading when I was in the middle of high school, I probably would have started reading earlier if I had better material that didn't actually just bore me. Now, I don't know if I'm in the position to say what I think those books should be. Obviously, they should probably be related to things that are important in the world, social change, things like that. But I also think we should highlight books that are just written well to show students what a good book can be. So no, I don't think they should just throw the Hunger Games books in front of them and be like, required reading, even though I would love that. But I definitely think there's some more recent books that could definitely be beneficial for a ton of students. Reading should not be a luxury. I'm assuming what this person is just saying is essentially that it should not be expensive for me to grab a book and read it. It's actually insane how expensive books are getting nowadays. You have history books hardcover that are selling for like $45. Regular paperback books are going to like $20. And so you're probably thinking, oh, well, go to a used store. There's a ton of those, right? Well, one, a lot of those are diminishing and there's not a ton of those around anymore. And two, you cannot read newer titles at these used bookstores. They don't show up until 6-7 years later. So if I want to read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, right? New book came out, pretty exciting. She's a great author. Well, I'm going to have to fork over $33, $35 for it. And I don't really want to do that for a single book I'll probably finish in a couple days. People talk about the benefits in reading and how more people should do it, but it's simply not accessible to a lot of people financially. So honestly, I show a lot of gratitude to things like public libraries for you to, own books for a little bit and borrow them. But once again, not everyone has this great public library with them. And honestly, those prices are just going to keep rising. And that really sucks for people who just want to start getting into reading but cannot afford getting into it. So I think this person is saying exactly what we all really think about books, which is they should not be that expensive. Well, that was a jolly good time. Who knew I would love dissing or agreeing with people's opinions? Genuinely though, I actually thought that was really fun. And I think a lot of people ask or have these hot takes that actually bring up a lot of good questions that we should frankly have an answer to. So probably I'll honestly do this again. That was really enjoyable for me. But as always, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully I didn't make you steam with some of these hot takes. You all have a lovely day. Farewell.